Right.
Hello, welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. My name is Don Pelto, and I have Emanuel Rose here. Welcome, Emanuel.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate it. It's great to talk to you today.
Yeah, you're welcome. We were chatting a little bit before, and your specialty is marketing. And most people that are listening, they're going to own their own private practices, maybe one or two doctors, maybe some will have three or four doctors. But we're all kind of looking to be the most efficient with our time, and not many of us have a lot of time. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about your background and interest in marketing and how you kind of got into this area of helping people.
You bet. Yeah. So I have a background in manufacturing, in sales, in marketing of the clothing industry and consumer electronics, and got done with my last project about 13 years ago. And I said, I'm pretty much unmanageable, so I better start my own company. And that was right as social media was starting to become a bigger piece of the marketing world. And I knew I could get at least one chapter ahead of everybody else
Okay.
and help. And then, over the last 13 years, the landscape is unrecognizable compared to what it was, as we've all observed.
It's totally changing. And for people, I think, like, we've been involved, let's say I've been involved for 15 years just in practice. And so the amount of time I have to dedicate to learn about marketing, to trying to figure out, do I do it myself? Do I have someone do it for me? There's a lot of these discussions. And so let's kind of look at like a higher level of like marketing. What are some of the trends that businesses should be aware of? Like, specifically, if you can talk to healthcare and fitness and things like that.
You bet. Yeah. So one of the great things about the trend of this social CEO, that really dovetails nicely with the medical community, is that the doctor's the expert, right?
Okay. What's a social
And so,
CEO? Tell me about that. What do that means?
sure, yeah. So somebody like Richard Branson or Kylie Jenner, if you're familiar with those individuals, somebody or the CEO is the primary influencer for the brand of the company. And so that is, in particular, Generation Z, these people that are under 27, they depend on influencers for their information. But we all gravitate to those stories of experts.
Yep.
And so in the medical community, it's critical that you establish your voice and you put a kind of a stake in the sand. Orthotics are good or orthotics are bad, and here's why, and here's what you do instead. And that is what you're building your brand on.
Okay.
So that's one of the overarching trends, absolutely.
And then
digital first. I mean, I think that just is what we have to start with, is that everything has to be digital first, and then we move analog if we need to.
Okay. So let's talk about what that would look like. Like, traditionally, let's talk about marketing. So traditionally, I think most practices have websites. You can assume that.
Okay.
And then getting more sophisticated, I think some either have ghostwriters doing one blog a week or one blog a month. And then some may even kind of have making YouTube videos. What do you think is there a secret sauce, but for busy people? Like, what's the secret sauce for really busy people that you would recommend?
Sure. Yeah. And it is, it's a complicated question wrapped in simplicity,
Sorry.
right?
Okay,
That's okay.
simplify it for me.
No. I mean, that is the question, though. I'm with you. So I would say a person probably needs 2 hours a week to be able to do their own content marketing of what you're describing as best practices. And really one day or 1 2-hour session would be around local search optimization, and in terms of your Google business profile and your Facebook business profile, and making sure that you're managing that correctly, so that people in your local area, when they're just looking for that service provider, can find you. The rest of the time would be around doing some research on Google. Like, if you just did a Google search for frequently asked questions about podiatry, people with that list of FAQs, and then were to do video interview yourself answering those questions with a very simple intro, content and outro. Take that video and you put it into a piece of software like Clip Scribe.
Mm-hmm.
That takes it and puts the subtitling on it, strips out the transcript, and you can create a blog from it. So you really optimized your time to really in 30 minutes you can create a number of good pieces of content that would then go on to your website and onto social media.
I'm gonna simplify this because you've been doing this a long time, and people that are listening, I just want to clarify for you guys.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, so part of that time you're going to try to optimize your Google My Business and your Facebook profile. Those are professional profiles, and Google My Business. How do you, and also Google Maps, how do you optimize those? Is it like the same content that you're going to be putting on your blog, you're posting there? Are there short little things that you're like, what do you put in pictures? How do you optimize that? What do you put in there?
Well, the first thing is, especially with the Google My Business or Google Maps, whatever they're calling it this week, it changes all the time, is to make sure that it's fully filled out. So it's as complete as possible with as many keywords as they'll let you put in there. So that's the most important thing. And then also inside that Google Maps, they're trying to make that like a blogging platform or a social media platform, so you can post to it. So whatever you posted to last week on Facebook, drag that over and post it on the Google Maps this week. So
that's awesome.
That way you're getting some leverage from that content.
Any ways to automate that, Emanuel? I know there's like Hootsuite and repurpose.io. Any others? I know ClickScribe is another one. Any ones that you find really easy to use? So you can
Hero Post. Hero Post is the absolute best.
Hero Post. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a one time a year kind of fee.
Yeah,
it's a cost-effective one, and it connects as many platforms and profiles as you can.
That's awesome. So the first part is spending time. You were an assistant, but then I really like your way of doing content, which is FAQ. I think that is what I actually do. I have Google Slides in my linked at every treatment room, and when a patient asks me a question, I put the question on a slide. Nice. And then I might find a picture on Google somewhere and for like the thumbnail. And then, but I really like your way of you're just answering that question. You can almost put up the slide with the question and then just you answer it with a little intro and outro. So yeah, I think that's a great way. And you can get patients questions or questions that are online. And where would you be posting that? Are you and how long are the videos? Are you talking like a plantar fasciitis 15-20 minute video? Or are you talking 1 or 2 minute video for like TikTok and Facebook and things like that? Is there a sauce to that as well?
Yeah, I think we have to look at it in terms of shorter is better, especially if it can be filled with kind of problem solution call to action. Right, mm-hmm. That's how we would do it in a product marketing environment. So the same thing. My feet hurts. Why do my feet hurt? Because of XYZ, and then here's 3 probable solutions or treatment. But see your doctor to make sure that kind of format. We know that we have about 3 seconds to capture somebody's attention. So it has to be hard hitting in the front in order to capture it. And then 90 seconds or less in a full thought, I guess. Does it make sense? Yeah, it does. It does. I know there's different. Some recommend long form. I think long form works a little bit better in podcast format. Mm-hmm. I think the short form, and I think there's ways like with this repurpose.io, you can take a minute segment out of a longer rant, and they'll put the subtitles and stuff like that, and you can put it on LinkedIn and other type of stuff. In terms of doing that, I like to use block time. So like every Tuesday, that's my recording time. I think if you do it haphazardly, you'll never do it if you're a busy doctor. That's true. How about editing? Like one thing I really like, but I hate doing. So what I like is those things where pretty much it's me and you talking, you would be talking, and then it like filters out with a nice little video, and then it has a few words there, and then it filters back into me talking. So it's a really easy thing to record. It's a bobblehead of me talking, but doing that back end editing, it's a pain in the butt. I don't like doing it.
any good tips, any good who's you can pay? I know there's subscription fees for like $400 a month, and they'll do a 10-minute video once a week. Any ideas, or is that even necessary? Can I just do a regular bobblehead of me talking and showing a slide, and is that good enough?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I think it really is about what your creative aesthetic is and what your brand is. If you're in Beverly Hills, you're probably going to need to hire a company to do it and get it super clean. Um, what's nice about doing it with very little editing is it feels really authentic, right?
Yeah.
We don't expect our doctors, at least, unless you're doing, plastic surgery, probably that might be different, but we don't expect our doctors to be video editors and to be super snazzy in terms of the marketing. We don't want flashy, but we do want the straight talk. And so, if it was just a 2-minute YouTube video that then you take and get transcribed, then that with a clean in and out, right, and a little watermark. So very simple stuff that you can do inside of YouTube if you need to. But again, something like Clipscribe, that it all is built into it. And
Yeah.
for $30 a month, you're able to upload that video. It does the titling for you, and then you export the MP4, and you're good to go. And then you'll go to your website. We'll go to LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You could, if you're
Hero
feeling
Post will post it all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna send it wherever your potential clients live, right?
Amount of content. Can I do 1 2-minute video a week, and is that enough?
Let's see. You probably would be able from that, you'd be able to, yeah, that would be a pretty reasonable amount. Should be able to pull 10 posts out of that. 2 minutes is about 360 words. So you could easily pull 10 quotes out of that. And
so the quotes are going to be on like LinkedIn and stuff like that.
Yeah, where you do like an image of you in the white with the stethoscope and like here's the
Quotes.
concept.
Yeah.
And then it'll just be on Instagram or on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Now, bear with my ignorance here, and or my lack of enjoyment of social media. I'm kind of what I was reading recently, Deep Work by Cal Newport. So he pretty much rebels against even email. He rebels against everything. Sure. As a doctor, do I need everything? Like, you need to be everything to everyone? Like, do you need to have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of that with the, like, what do they call it? Circular velocity. I think Bridge Bouchard talked about that a while ago, where you take the, does that need to happen? Or can I just stick with one thing, like a blog? Like, talk me off the ledge. Tell me why I need it.
Well, I would say let's keep it simple to start with, right? And the very first thing is that we need to have a good local search presence, like we were talking about earlier.
Local, okay.
Maps. So that's the first thing. The second part is your website, and that is the hub of your marketing universe. So yeah, you need to be producing content. You need to have a blog. The question about which platform do I go to really is about who your patients are,
who your patients
and who your target market is, right? Maybe you have a set of patients, but you want a different set. So if you want to target females, you're going to go and do Pinterest content. If you want kids that are, under 30, you're going to go to TikTok. If it's the middle, it's the middle group, then you go to Facebook and Instagram.
And do you do the whole hub and spoke idea? Like my base is my blog or my newsletter and my website, and everything leads back to that. Is that what you recommend?
Absolutely. That's just because of the efficiency of it, right? Everything goes to the blog first, from video. YouTube then gets the video. You can embed the video back into your website then. So there's cross-linking that happens. It's valuable for SEO. And then you have the ability to figure out where it goes after that.
Yeah. You were talking about, so does blogging still produce results?
100%. And so the thing we haven't talked about is email marketing and the value of that for medical practice also, right? So especially if you're in direct primary care or private care where you're not getting paid, where it's cash pay, you want to have your prospects and your patients engaged. And so the monthly newsletter that talks about something that's important in current events, that's talking about a workshop or an informational seminar that you're going to be doing, so that you're keeping that list warm. And then as people's needs arise with their feet, then they're going to come to you immediately.
Yeah. From what I hear, usually it's like a once a week type of message going out, not more than once a week. And are you just reutilizing what you put in your blog post once a week? Is that what you're doing? Kind of like a repost of the blog, or like how creative do you need to get? Because you're looking at pulling teeth in me and a lot of the other doctors doing that.
Well, yeah. And so, yeah, that's a great question too. And absolutely, blog content is going to be the core of this. And then getting some curated content, like from a company called Up Content. So there's curation, which also leads to the feeling of authority that somebody has, because you as a doctor have said, yes, this is a good piece of information, and it's from the New England Journal of Medicine, or it's from the Harvard Business Review, or whoever it is, and my people are going to see value from this. So you don't have to do it all yourself.
I like that. So from Up Content, so basically you take a journal article that you maybe have read, and you can give your little 30-minute or 2-minute synopsis on it, and then give a link back to that article.
Yeah, and so with Up Content, you put in keywords or hashtags, and then they feed you that content as it comes out. And so you have access to it for your social. You can connect your social profiles to that, and then also for your email and website.
Is that similar to like Google, where you can put in like my name and it'll send me anything that pulls up on my name? Similar to that?
Yeah, it's very similar. Yep.
Cool. Wow, this is like, you have a lot of good information here of doing that. You're mentioning also, if we're in our own private practice, so people are going to do that newsletter. What is it a good offer for doctors to offer to get, like, people, they don't want a newsletter, but you want them on their list? What can you offer them? What are things that we should be offering to get them on subscribed?
Well, I know you guys have probably heard this a million times, but every doctor needs some kind of an informational piece, some kind of a book, or an ebook, so that you have that as your offer. Fundamental, right? Sign up to get this,
and then keep marketing to them after that.
Yeah,
that's good. Go back, and I think you already touched on this, but if you could only do, you're a busy doctor, you could only do one marketing activity, what would be that one activity that would give you the most bang for your time?
Spend 5 minutes every week with your iPhone answering things on video. Answering questions, whatever the most current questions that you had that really flummoxed you and you had to go and do research for, or something you get all the time and you're tired of talking about it and you can send it out in advance. But spend that time talking to your phone, recording it, and then turning that into the rest of the content like we talked about.
That's the funny thing is I have like a Logitech recording, so I tend to record on Zoom. I hit record, and it records to the cloud. But some people have told me that the quality of Zoom isn't as good, and it might even be better to do a phone. So something real, because I know how to use phones. I use phones, but when you record it to your phone, then you upload it somewhere so you can do all that other stuff with it. Do you go to OneDrive or Google Drive? You have to upload it somewhere because it's a heavy file, right? So do you?
It is. Yeah, it's a big file, and there's software again that you can use inside the phone or export it. But I think that's a good call with the Zoom. I have software on my computer where I record it straight in, just like what you're describing, and that's the simplest. So
I like that. And then I know you were talking about some recommendations you gave us for business and life. You talked about using video interviews as the core content. And when you're talking about that, is you interviewing yourself, you answering questions. And you state the question and then say, oh, I had a patient ask me this question, or let's look at this question today, and then you answer it. Is that how you kind of do it?
Yeah, it would be depend on how you feel most comfortable kind of diving into something. But I tend to, in my videos, I'll say, well, I had a conversation with a client today, and they did this, or they wouldn't do this, or they asked me that, and then explain the situation. So just whatever it takes to really just to get you to start pouring out your expertise.
Well, and I think the area that I've made errors I think is I do something called patient presentations for my patients. So basically it's a Google Slides on each condition when they come in, and I'll do that slide. But I find many times to do that whole recording of it takes 10 or 15 minutes to really go in depth. And I think I'm guilty. I think we, as doctors, you feel like you want to give them everything.
Right.
And what sounds like what you're telling me is like, no one has an attention span for a 15-minute video. So you might, take it and cut it up into pieces, or do one slide at a time and just go do a deep dive and for 2 minutes on that one slide, diagnosis of plantar fasciitis, imaging for plantar fasciitis, most common mistakes of plantar fasciitis, and just get a lot of content on that one topic.
Yeah. And the more you break it up, then the more you can see what people actually want to hear about versus what you want to talk about. And those are often different.
That's good. Yeah. And then I guess the other question is, you mentioned something which I like. You said, maybe you're treating a certain patient base, but let's say I want to get into more like cash pay, shockwave treatment, or amniotic stem cell injections, or things like that.
Yep.
I've heard people talking about, well, you produce content to what you want to see more of. Is that kind of what you recommend if you want to like develop a new silo in your practice? It's not going to show up. You can't just be talking about trimming toenails all the time. You have to talk about that new silo. Is that correct? Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah. So, as a marketer, I would start with keywords and then start to understand the market and who else is in the market, and then who are they targeting, and then build some content, a bigger piece of content. So that's where you want to have your 15-minute video and your 20-page ebook, and even potentially a 100-page hardback, right? About something where there's actual some big dollars, private dollars in.
Yeah. I like that. And I know you have you're going to talk about, because we're kind of finishing up here. How is it that you help clients, and if people want to learn more about you and kind of what you do, let them know, because you shared here you're an expert. So if people want to learn more about you, where's your website and what do you have to offer?
Yeah, thank you. So I work with clients in varying degrees, primarily in doing the big picture analysis of where they're at, and then building a strategic plan for them on how to get to where they want to go over the next 3 years. We do some tactical marketing too, but so that's the biggest part. And my website, strategicemarketing.com, and then strategicadventuremarketing.com, because I'm an outdoorsman also.
Are you? Good. Yeah. And I know you have you've focused specifically for marketing to the Generation Z. I haven't really heard that kind of niche yet. If you want to finish up telling us kind of why you've kind of developed that focus and interest.
Yeah, you bet. So Gen Z are these people that are under 26 right now, kind of between like 13 and 26. It's just the biggest cohort that exists in the United States at this point. It's 70 million people, very big economic power, and they're very focused on things they believe in, and on the people who are a part of the business. So being the core influencer for your practice is critical, because that's what they're going to attach to.
Yeah.
And the people they do business with.
Cool. Well, thank you, Emanuel, for your time. This is great. We learned a lot, covered a lot of great topics. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me. It was a great time.